Hello and welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between.
We're your hosts, Brandice Daniel.
And I am Sybil Amoudi, and thank you for joining us. Brandice.
Yes, ma'am.
It's Friday night. What country are you flying to?
Sybil, shut up.
Where are we going tonight?
I have no idea where. Probably to see my friend Joy and that little cute
What
baby
country?
of hers.
Is she in Barbados?
Shut up.
I know she's not in the States because she don't do the States.
She's in Harlem.
Oh, yeah, right.
She's in
Harlem, Africa. Brandice is probably going away on some fabulous weekend, and I'm going to be home with the hubby and the kids, hanging out. We're doing our New York weekends this weekend, guys. It is still beautiful weather. Atmosphere is great. Lots of people are out and about, and
it's
our
packed in the
favorite
streets.
time of year here in NYC. And we hope you girlfriends everywhere are having a beautiful day. We had a fantastic time talking about faith in our last podcast.
Yeah, we did. That was good. I mean, Sib, I did not know the full story about little Dylan, which is Sybil's baby girl. And I was in here just in tears because the story was so beautiful.
Listen,
So if you have not heard that episode, you must go and listen to that. It is a must. It is so inspiring.
Yeah, it truly is because, as Brandice said in the last episode, she talked about faith being an action. And then she asked me, had I ever had an experience with faith where I just knew, that faith was the thing that made something come to pass. And for me, that story of Dylan's life is it's empowering, and it'll empower you if you check it out. And then Brandice sharing her story of really experiencing breakthrough at Lincoln Center for HFR. I think that was 2013, right?
That was 2011.
2011? Because I was pregnant.
That was
No,
2011.
I had just given birth
That was
to
2011.
Dylan. That's right.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe that was just the year of mega
Maybe
faith,
so.
because we were
Maybe
going
so.
through some faith obstacles at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
And we both experienced God in the same time frame, so that's amazing. So we wanted to continue the discussion a little bit because we, in the last episode, talked about what faith is and talked about some of the basics about faith and the application. But now we want to talk with you girlfriends about what your faith does for other people.
I think we should name this podcast It's Not About You.
Ooh, sermon notes. It is not about you. That is so amazing, Brandice. So true. Your faith is not about you. And that's the confusion that we have sometimes. Like when we don't understand that our faith or our mission is bigger than ourselves.
Yes.
OMG. So it's not about you. That's the conversation for today. And we're going to just go a little bit deeper into what your faith does for other people, why it's not about you, why it's about a global mission, why it's so imperative that you keep that idea in front of you so that you can continue to be a gift to other people.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, I think this topic is important because, one, we're all living it out.
Yes.
That it's very true for us to understand that our faith is activated every single day. When we're walking the streets, we're in the car, we're sitting down, we're using pens and papers, whatever we're doing, that we're experiencing it. Our faith is a part of it. So it's not that one person has greater faith than the next person. It's just that one person may activate their faith in a different way. And if we all learn how to do that, we can see those same results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I have to tell you guys something before we keep going.
keep going. Tell us something.
So we're sitting at a table right now in Harlem at this podcast, and the way Sybil has her arm.
What's my arm doing? It's all bent forward. Is
Are
it
you
weird?
double jointed?
I might be. Was that weird?
That's so weird. So I
Really?
took a picture.
And you're gonna post it.
And I'm gonna
You
post
play
it.
me like
I'm
that.
gonna post it for y'all. So
Y'all let me know. Am I double jointed? I don't know.
I just snuck and took a picture of her so that you guys could see.
I don't even know. I might be
It
double
looks
jointed.
so weird.
That is so amazing. I don't know. It felt comfortable.
I will let the people see. I will let the girlfriend see.
You know what? Whatever. Girlfriends, don't play me. Don't be on social media talking about my double jointed shoulders and my arms.
Oh You guys will see.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, Brandice, why do you think that we need to really jump into this topic today?
You know what? I think that when we realize that us taking like steps of faith, when we realize that it's so much bigger than us, I think it helps us to take the risk.
That's big.
You know, I think it helps us to take the risk, and we realize that it opens doors for other people, and that, you know, other people, like literally other people's lives sometimes is depending on you taking a step of faith.
Very true.
Like your step of faith could alter someone else's life.
That is so true. You know, there are some major examples of that. And we saw it in the story that we shared in the last podcast with my faith in God and my belief for Dylan and Kwaku's belief. Our collective faith manifested this amazing daughter, our daughter. And even with HFR, how your manifested faith opened doors for designers from around the world to be able to share their gifts with other people, and for other people to kickstart their careers, and for volunteers to be able to get experience in the fashion industry they never thought they would have.
Wow.
Yeah. And to think about it like this, a doctor who believes in his ability to perform a surgery can give a heart transplant and create or continue life for someone.
It's so true.
That's faith.
It is.
And you believing in that person's ability is faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think the girlfriends, I think you guys know that, you know that you need faith, and you know that you have to take a step of faith. I know some of you guys are scared out of your mind.
Yes.
But it's okay. So I think today we're going to really kind of hopefully inspire you guys to say, hey, I want to do this, and I understand that it's not even just about me. It's about all the other people that this is going to open a door for. So that's our goal today. Our goal today is for you guys to leave this podcast completely inspired, fired up, and ready to go out there and take your steps of faith.
So let's talk really quickly about the major part that we both agree on is that keeping your mission in front of you and knowing that your faith is bigger. It's not about you.
Yeah.
When you say it's not about you, what do you mean? God has chosen me. It's my faith. How's it not about me?
So here's my best personal example.
Okay.
I'll give you a personal example. I wanted to move to New York. I was about to say, guys, I'm from Memphis, but I think you know I'm from Memphis by now. But I wanted to move to New York when I was 21. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a thought. But then this girl named Wamura actually came to New York for like, I think a semester or something. And when she came back from New York, she told me all about New York. Mm-hmm. And literally her telling me about New York made it so clear for me that I wanted to move here. So it was like, she doesn't even know. I don't even know, Wamura, if you know that you had that impact, if you're listening on me. But like her taking that step of faith was like huge for me. And then when I think about me finally moving here 7 years later, after I originally said I would move here, and how then that opened the door for all of these other, like my niece has been in New York now almost 5 years, and she's built a whole life in New York.
Yeah.
Now my nephew is here. Yeah. You know, and now a lot of their friends are here. And I feel like they were able to say, oh, Brandice was able to go to New York and survive, so now I can go. So, you know, who knows? I mean, I can't say for sure that my niece would have moved to New York if I hadn't have been here. So I think part of her life story is connected to me taking a step of faith and moving to New York.
Absolutely.
So that's like a really kind of simple example, but I think that there's lots and lots and lots of examples. Like, can you think of an example in your life?
Yeah, where my faith is not about me.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly believe, I'm going to say in marriage, because again, like as you guys have known from multiple podcasts, that I was not the girl who was like planning a wedding and dreamed of this day. I wasn't that girl. So when it came to marriage, I had to really, really trust God and believe that someone else was capable of leading my life better than me. And in doing that and trusting Kwaku to take that center stage in my life and be that leader, I hear from people all the time how blessed they are by the example of our marriage. And it's not to sound boastful at all. I want you girlfriends to understand that. But your character, the life that you live, it breeds, like it lives and it breeds faith for other people.
It does.
So, in doing that, I think some of the decisions that other people have seen us have to make in the course of our marriage and our careers and so forth, I hear from people all the time about how they have, regained their belief in marriage, or they regained their belief in love, or seeing Kwaku as a man or seeing him as a father makes them want to marry the type. They've developed an archetype for a man. And we have a lot of young single friends that we mentor and that hang out with us and spend time. And some of them don't have a present father or don't have a present man. And so by seeing our relationship and having the accessibility to Kwaku, they're learning, this is the blueprint for how a man can be. Wow. And this is the blueprint for how a wife can be. And this is what a marriage can be like. I mean, in the midst of all these other chaotic relationships that we're seeing in the media and divorce is so rampant. Even our friends who are, divorcing are saying, you guys, give me hope that I can meet someone new. Right. That I can have that type of relationship one day.
Right.
And I really feel it was literally us believing that God meant for us to have that union.
Right.
And I think you said you've seen it a couple of podcasts back. You said your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Believing.
And even looking at you and Kwaku.
Yeah.
You guys are inspiration for me.
Thank you.
It's true.
Well, we look forward to other couples and we're like, woo, we can, they're an example to us.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely true. Sybil does not know I'm about to say this.
No. Whatever she's about to say, I had no clue. Oh my God.
But, talking about how your faith can open doors for other people. Oh God, I'm going to cry, Sybil.
Oh my goodness. Give me my tissue. Here.
But talking about how your faith can open doors for other people. Sybil and her husband have been such a blessing to me. So now I'm going to cry.
Oh my gosh, Brandice. Come on.
Okay, let me put it together. I'm trying. But in the beginning, I said, I don't think I can make it through this without crying. Girlfriends, I hope you don't mind hearing all of this.
Give them all your tears.
Having me talk through my tears. But I remember in 2009 when I met Sybil. I don't even remember how our friendship formed, but I remember immediately her wanting to pour into my business. And I remember her connecting me with her husband, who's like one of the most incredible graphic designers, artists, like, I don't know, graphic whisperers out there. Uh-huh. He has a company called 113 Design. You guys should definitely check that out. And we and so he and I, we sat down and talked, and because Sybil connected us, he ended up creating the logo for my company, which, I mean, that logo is the exact same as what he designed in 2009. And I mean, people paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for logos, but he literally gifted me with that. And then I remember I wanted to create a deck. And he had this idea of what my deck should look like. And I literally just talked to him about my vision. And he gave me this. I mean, he made my company look like $1 million when I didn't even have like $100.
Wow.
And having their faith in me, which was their faith in action towards my business, it inspired me to keep moving. And it's just been kind of, honestly, thing after thing after thing with Miss Amuti and Mr. Amuti. And, even last year, I remember, here I'm about to cry again, you guys. Oh my goodness. Stick with me, girlfriend. Stick with me. But I remember last February, I didn't have any sponsors. And
Okay.
This is really
We both might cry here. We need a commercial break. Where's the sponsor when we need one?
need a commercial break. But I didn't have any sponsors, and ironically, I named the theme of that particular show "Back to Basics." But I had no idea I was actually going to be going back to basics. So, ladies, watch your words. And there was a sponsor that had kind of like committed to us. And the closer we were getting to this fashion show date, the more I realized I was like, that was the first time where I said, I don't think this sponsor's coming on. And so they finally confirmed that they weren't coming on, but like literally we're talking like, I don't even know if it was a month before the show. It may have been weeks before the show was supposed to happen. And I put out an email blast, and which was so difficult for me to do, which I don't know, maybe that's another podcast topic, but it was so difficult for me to do because people had seen me. You guys heard me talk about doing an event at Jazz and Lincoln Center. People had seen me do events at all these huge, humongous, beautiful, gorgeous venues. And so people assume when sometimes they see certain things in your life that you have certain things together.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And so I had to literally send out an email to ask friends and family for money. And I had a certain goal that I needed to reach, and I had a very small amount of time to reach it in. And I'll never forget, Sybil called me or texted me and told me to come to the office. And what I never told you, Sib, was God told me what you were going to give me before.
Are you serious?
Yes. So I was on a subway, and when she texted me, like, I knew. I just knew. And
Wow.
And so that's why it was like so I was like in like crazy tears because it was like
it was confirmation.
Total confirmation.
Yeah.
And so I get to her office, and her and Kwaku are there, and they're both like, what's going on and like whatever. And so we're talking about it, and they gave me such a huge gift. And it's like, just having their faith, because it took faith, I'm sure, to write that check.
Yeah.
To have your faith, I guess, almost be combined with my faith, right? It helped me in ways that really kind of made such a shift in my life, because from that point on, I knew that I didn't have to depend on anybody. You think you get to a place and you're like, oh, I need sponsors for this, or I need this for that. And it was like, no, like all you need, it was like God took me literally back to the basics and was like, remember that in the beginning, you weren't dependent on sponsors. You were only dependent on me, and I provided the sponsors. So that was even such just a huge gift to my life for me to go back to, like, you don't actually need anyone. Like, you need faith, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then I'll provide in places where you don't even know you won't ever know where your provision is coming from, but I'll provide.
That's so true.
And so, don't know what prompted me to tell these stories, to share this with you guys, but I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you, because we don't know. We never know where our resources are going to come from, and sometimes we look to one source for them. And so we expect, our resources for this is going to come from our paycheck, right? So when you lose your job, what happens?
You're stuck. You think you're stuck.
You think you're stuck.
Because your mind tells you that you just lost your source.
Yeah, but
versus
that's not
your resource.
Right. But that's not your source. So
and it's only one resource.
Absolutely. And so tying it back to just how faith impacts other people. I mean, I could say in this case, my faith impacted Sybil and Kwaku.
Absolutely.
And then their faith in turn impacted me.
Right. I mean, I think that, we can all agree that our faith serves as a gateway, because if we have faith to do something, it's because God has planted a mission inside of our hearts that's meant to create a bridge for people in some way.
Right.
And so we can't always see how it's going to bridge for us or for other people. But when we do activate it, most of the time we can see where other people are reaping the benefit of us saying, yes, God, I will follow your direction. Yes, I will listen to you. I will take this chance. I will cliff jump because I want to experience this thing that you want me to have. I mean, I can think back, these examples live on and on and on, but I can remember in 2009, my husband and I, we were, and Sam, our son, 2010, we were living in New York, and we were in Harlem, and we didn't have a car. We were just taking the subway everywhere. But once we got pregnant with the second child, I said, oh no, we are going to have a car.
Right.
Like we can't do New York without a car. And so, we just said in our hearts, all right, we believe God that we'll plan to get a car by the time Dylan is born, whatever, time frame approaches us. So anyway, come January, we decided, all right, we're going to start looking for what we want, figure out our budget, prepare. But meanwhile, I heard God tell me that someone was going to give us a car. And I was like, oh, it's interesting. So I told Kwaku, God is showing me that someone's going to give us a car. And he was like, well, amen. We received it. So months passed, many months, down to, I want to say September or so. So this happened in January. September, we get a phone call from a friend. And our friend, by faith, was starting a limousine company. And so he was taking his pension and investing it into buying cars for his limousine company to get started. Mm-hmm. And he said that God told him to sow his car into us. Now, in the time that God told me about this, God said we would have a car by October. That's the part I didn't tell you guys it. So we told him, we said, okay, praise God. We believe by October we'll have a car debt free. So we weren't going to shop. We weren't shopping anymore. So when we're talking to our friend on the phone and he's saying, I'm starting my new business and I'm going to go out and buy, this vehicle, and I'm going to give my truck to you guys. And we're sitting on the phone like, what?
Wow.
And he was like, yeah, he was like, God told me in January.
Wow.
To give my vehicle to you guys. When he said that he believed he was going to start a new business, God told him, well, you're going to give your truck to the Amootis. Mm-hmm. And so he had been preparing his truck between January and September, changing out the tires, getting new parts just prepared to make sure he got it painted fresh, got new window tint, all these different things to prepare his truck as a gift for us.
Wow.
Without us even knowing.
Wow.
And then he said, so I'm going to get the new car within a couple weeks, and I want to drop this car off to you guys probably by October.
Wow.
And so that's when I fell on the floor because I could not believe that. And what I learned from that, and so October 1st, he dropped the truck off at our house, went on about his business, and there it was. We had this truck for a couple of years before we purchased our new car. But what if he didn't believe what God told him about his limousine company?
Wow.
What if he didn't believe that God had an action tied to that faith?
Right.
Look what his faith meant to our family.
Wow.
It was provision when we needed it.
Wow.
So his faith was a gateway for us to be able to have a car when we needed it.
Wow.
What if he didn't listen though?
Wow.
So it's that important. It's that critical part of when we feel or sense something that is meant to be activated in our faith, we have to move on it.
Right.
Because it's meant to be a bridge for someone else.
It's always meant to be a bridge for someone else.
It's not about us.
Yeah.
And he thought, yes, he was meant to open his limousine company. He worked all those years. He built a pension. And he thought he was going to go retire on an island and live off his pension forever and ever and ever. And God showed him to create this new company and be a blessing unto different ministries and drive certain people around. And he's a security company as well, so he could do both. But also to bless a family with this car. And what he said was, I'm sowing not just into you guys a car, but I'm sowing into your marriage, because I'm believing for a great marriage. I'm believing for more kids. I'm believing I want to have that same thing. So I'm sowing this by faith that I can reap a beautiful experience like that.
Wow.
So it's cyclical almost.
Wow.
That what we believe, we breed for someone else, it breeds for us.
Right.
And that's what faith does. So when you say it's not about you, it's absolutely not about you.
It's not.
No.
It's absolutely not.
No. It's about God delivering a message or delivering on a promise.
Yeah, or his love.
Or his love. Or his love. Because that's what it does. When someone does something for you in faith, it says to you, man, God loves me.
Yeah.
God loves me.
Yeah.
Like, he never had to do any of those things. And when you experience it, it reinforces his love.
1,000%.
That is so true. It's really the core of it.
It's the core of it.
And that's what I feel all of us should really focus on, girlfriends. We have to be very intentional about reinforcing God's love through our faith.
Yeah.
And how we activate things every day.
Absolutely.
And that's why we can't stay at jobs where we don't feel we're being led to stay there, and be in relationships where we don't feel like God is in the middle, and go places where God is not in the middle of it. That's why we have to really be very intentional, because there's something waiting on the other side of that. Right. That is going to open the door for someone else and open other doors for us.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I know, like, I know sometimes it's so difficult. Like, it's so difficult. I think all the time, like, you know, I wrote this analogy recently about when I jumped out of a plane for my 35th birthday. And I thought about, like, that 15 seconds after you jump out of a plane, you're free falling. And so it is the, like, scariest experience ever. Like, wow. Ever. And then after that free fall, because I did a tandem jump, so somebody was on my back. Wow. But after the free fall, you do the guy releases the parachute, and when he releases the parachute, you're like floating, and it's like the most beautiful experience ever. Oh, wow. And that's kind of how taking steps of faith are sometimes. Yes. It's like that 15 seconds is so painful. Yeah. But then the result of it is like so beautiful. And
that's so good.
Yeah, that's why it's so worth it.
That's so good.
But you have to like work through that like really, really, really painful piece of it.
You know, the other thing too that I think is beautiful about faith and why it's not about us, I imagine a lot of times, you know, when we're going through experiences and we feel like there's an insufficiency and we have to believe by faith for something, sometimes we're ashamed of the things that we think we don't have. So when it comes to sharing our experience in faith, we tend to shy away from sharing a testimony, because it implies
you'll be like, God blessed me with a house and my credit score was 400.
My credit score was a 250 and God sent me a house. And people are like, oh, you had bad credit. Or I didn't have money for rent, but God paid it. Or
and people like, girl, you walking around with that Louis Vuitton.
You can't afford rent. You don't budget. What's wrong with you? You know, stuff like that. Or like, you know, with Dylan, and I didn't want to share my testimony because I felt like people would think something's wrong with my body. Like, what's wrong with her? Is her body short or something? Or women who are believing for children and are having hard time delivering, and they don't want to share because a lot of times other women will judge and say, oh, she can't carry a kid, or is she barren? What's wrong with her? All these cliches are absolutely ignorant, but the important part about the testimony is that that's the part that creates deliverance for someone else. Right. We have to make sure that we understand what that faith is about. It's about opening the door for someone else. And people won't know what you were opening the door from if they don't understand what you came out of.
That's so true.
So even saying, I didn't have sponsors on the table, and I had to send a vulnerable email to my friends, and even to your friends, because you're like, I don't want to ask my friends. Right. But I need this.
It's true.
So my friends can either judge me, or people can judge me, have opinions, whatever it is. But you did that, all the parts that are hard to cope through because you still want to experience the breakthrough.
Right.
And now you have the testimony.
Yeah.
Sometimes people stop at the test because they're like, I can't ask friends.
Yeah.
I can't do this. It's too much. It's embarrassing. I'm ashamed of it. I can't believe I lack. I feel stupid. I feel like I should have budgeted better, or, it looks like I'm not the person that people think I am, those perceptions. And they keep themselves on the test side of things. And they keep having tests.
Yeah.
Until they press through to get the testimony.
Yeah.
So it's not about us when we're in the test.
It's so not about us.
No.
It's about that other person.
Yeah.
And it's about sharing those vulnerabilities, which is not easy.
Not at all. Not at all.
It's not easy to do. I mean, I'm struggling with it now. I'm doing... which we'll talk about later, like a 100-day consistency project, and I'm writing every day. And my writing is, I'm writing on a book. And literally, I sometimes finish writing and I have to just go lay down.
Wow.
Because it has just drained me emotionally. The vulnerability has drained me. So but I'm like, I can't tell pieces of the story without telling the whole story. Even the part that makes me look like a loser, even the part that makes me look like, it looks horrible. I have to tell the whole darn story.
Absolutely.
In order for anybody to really get anything from it.
Otherwise, they won't see the big deal.
That's true.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Brandice is just doing a book. No, it's not just Brandice doing a book. There's more to it.
Yeah. So.
No, that vulnerability is critical to it.
Absolutely.
It really is. So, I mean, that's it for me.
That's it for me.
I feel like, ladies, if you understand anything about the two of us, you know that, God's at the center. Everything else sort of branches off from there. And with God being at the center, that means love and faith are at the center of what we do. And our message to you, girlfriends, is that if you want to replicate a really great blueprint for activating faith and for keeping your mission at the center, that's what we would suggest.
Right.
We would suggest you do God, love, faith at the center and let everything else kind of branch from there. And then also knowing that in your faith, it's not about you, right?
It's not about you.
It's not about you.
It's totally, it's going to be such an encouragement to another person.
Absolutely.
You sharing your story, you taking a step of faith, you taking a huge risk.
Yes.
All of that is going to inspire someone else.
Yeah.
So it's imperative that you do that.
I have just one quick, woman that has really, really blessed my life over the years. She's been a mentor to me since I was a babysitter to her children back in the early 90s. And I watched her go through 2 battles of cancer, lose her husband, overcome it all, and believe in life again. Believe in family again, believe in hope again, restore businesses. And she was a very prominent businesswoman in my hometown. And she, I don't think she understands how her resilience and her courage and her strength and her grace and her love and her joy throughout that process prepared me for womanhood in ways that I still, unfold today. And, I feel like as women, we all have that example of someone, and in our moms,
yes,
too. We have those examples, but this particular woman, I don't know if I should name her, but she didn't have to take me on as another daughter, and she did, and I'm probably about to cry right now because I adore everything about her. And I love her dearly, and I love her example. And I mean, I live off of her example from 20 years ago or more. I still live off of that example because now I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a reference of a woman who did those things and had experiences that were just unbelievable and maintained her integrity, her faith, her courage through it all.
Wow.
That's the kind of power that we all have,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So our takeaways, ladies, we'll start with number 1.
Your faith is not about you.
That's right. Better know that. You can tweet that right now. Number 2.
Your faith opened doors for other people.
That's right. Number 3.
Your faith leads the way for other people to walk in faith.
That's right. Number 4.
And faith is a reinforcement of God's unconditional love for us.
Yes, unfailing love. I love that one. Number 5.
And don't get stuck in the test, folks. Come on, push through to the darn testimony.
Yes. Don't forget, if you listen to our the previous podcast, that dash.
Yes.
That dash in the middle of your date that you were born and the date that you leave this earth.
Yes.
That's that push part where we push through to experience God. And last but not least,
is vulnerability gives strength to your faith.
absolutely. And, we're meant to be a bridge for each other. So let's continue to do so, ladies. All right. So we want to thank our hubbies.
Yes.
Kwaku and Rich.
Thank you, guys.
Special shout out to you guys and our families. Our Sam, our Dylan, our baby boo, our moms, dads, uncles, cousins, brothers, sisters, friends all around the world.
And our great girlfriends for trusting us as your go-to source for everything life, love, and laughter. Remember to check us out on Instagram, The Great Girlfriends, Facebook, The Great Girlfriends, Twitter @the_great GFS, and tell all your friends to visit our website at thegreatgirlfriends.com.
Keep listening and keep being a great girlfriend. Bye.
I love that little corny last part.
You're all going to be saying it, so. I'm Sybil.
And I'm Brandice.
And we're signing off.